Alright, guys, so in this video, I'm going to talk about how wrestling fans have changed for the worse. Wrestling fans used to just be, they were either considered trailer trash, um, you know, it was usually trailer trash and teenage boys, and, basically, like, mostly just American working class, mostly white families. Of course, there was other racial demographics, but it was mostly that, and these were just normal, ordinary people. They weren't they were into other sports. They were into like whatever, because America back then had a monoculture, right? And pro wrestling was part of that monoculture, right? Like it was part of mainstream monoculture. So it was just normal people from the 80s and 90s. And yeah, some of them were weird, some of them were rowdy, some of them were obnoxious, but none of them were like the people you see at the bottom. None of them were like millennials, which is what I'm getting at. Once the millennials started to, I mean, yes, they were, once the millennials started becoming adults and started running wrestling, that's a story for another day for the wrestlers, but they also became the adult fans as well. The adult millennials, they don't root for the Ultimate Warrior. They wouldn't root for Goldberg. They would root for someone like Sami Zayn or CM Punk. There's a difference. They booed John Cena out of the building. The rejection of Batista and the cheering of Daniel Bryan should tell you all you need to know. When Batista returned as a full timer in 2014, the fans rejected him and they cheered for Daniel Bryan, a guy who did not deserve to be the top guy in the company whatsoever. Why did they want Daniel Bryan on top? Just look at them. They are basically progressive millennials. They saw Daniel Bryan as some sort of thing being held down by the system, and the only reason he's not on top is because the system is holding him down. Well, the reason he wasn't on top is because he doesn't make a good champion. As it's been proven, he failed as a champion. And even though the evidence was right in their face, Daniel Bryan failed as a champion in 2014. In 2015, during the Royal Rumble, Vince McMahon was like, okay, let's push someone who does deserve to do it. And look, I'm not the biggest Roman Reigns fan. I think Roman Reigns was given everything. I think he's overrated. But Roman Reigns is a much better and more believable champion than Daniel Bryan, even as the big dog. And people booed Roman Reigns. They booed the deserving candidate, the guy who actually worked harder and is better. Back then, wrestling fans would just enjoy the show. They would see a guy who's cool and they'd cheer for him. They saw a guy who sucked and they'd boo him. It was simple and it was part of the fun. They went along with the show and that is how they enjoyed it. Now we have millennial fans who are nerds, who are hypercritical of everything, and they are never satisfied. They've ruined the show because the show is pandering to them, and they're still not satisfied. Because they started to get vocal during the John Cena era, and they started booing John Cena, booing Batista, booing the Big Show, but they wanted like jobbers like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler to main event. They wanted Cody Rhodes to main event. They eventually got their way, and now they're complaining about Cody Rhodes. Modern wrestling fans are not the same as the old real wrestling fans. Modern wrestling fans celebrate when the GOAT Hulk Hogan dies. Old wrestling fans respect Hulk Hogan and know he's a legend in this business and created the way we consume it today and the way we understand it today. Modern wrestling fans boo The Rock, or at least they complain about The Rock on social media. They'll boo Ric Flair. They'll boo all these legends, not just because they didn't grow up with them, but because they see them as problematic or racist or sexist or homophobic. But back then wrestling was, well, by the standards of millennials, not the standards of actual morals, but wrestling was certainly sexist and homophobic, and it was a little racist. Let's be honest. Wrestling was always a kind of a conservative sport, and they got all mad at that. They were like, we hate old wrestling, we want to transform it into like our version with 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 Japanese guys slapping each other's asses. And we're not going to have like Lex Luger versus Yokozuna. We're going to have like Kenta Kobashi versus Kenny Omega. Like, you see what I mean? There's a difference. Like back then it was like we love America, we love Hulk Hogan and Lex Luger and Goldberg. Now it's like we love like sodomy and we love Kenny Omega. You get what I mean? So wrestling completely fell off, and it's because Vince McMahon or whoever it was, whether it be Triple H, Vince McMahon, whoever it is listening to the fans, and the fans don't know how to make stars. The fans, if you listen to these dorks, you will never get a star again. The last star that was created in wrestling was pushed despite what the fans wanted. Vince McMahon pushed Roman Reigns to the moon, in my opinion, undeservingly, but guess what? He fucking pushed him to the moon, and they finally made a star. The last star was made by not listening to the fans. There isn't a single star other than Roman Reigns right now, and Roman Reigns, again, was made by ignoring the IWC and the neckbeard fans. Right? And these fans are fake as well, because they advocate for women being half the show, but they don't fucking sit there and watch these women's matches. They don't. They go up and take a piss. Every time, like, you see the crowd during these women's matches, they're going to take a piss or getting some popcorn. They're not watching these bitches. And again, they'll say old wrestling is racist, but then they'll like throw peanuts and say, "Hey, New Day, do the minstrel act." So like they act like, "Oh, they're so progressive, right?" But like they want like black, like basically black people to like be racial stereotypes to get over. So it's like they're hypocrites. They're like, "Oh, you're racist. Fucking, I don't know, Greg Valentine's racist, but but I want to see the New Day do like humiliation rituals for my entertainment." It's just like, okay, I mean, all right. I mean, why don't you? Again, these are the people that wanted. These are the people, these are the people that basically ruin. These people ruined wrestling. They've completely ruined it. Like, the Big Show would never even be signed today. Undertaker and Kane could never even, like, do anything today. They'd never get signed. Like, you name it, none of it could happen today because of these fucking people. They'd turn on them the second they get the title. I mean, the only wrestler from back then that they would like is Bret Hart, because he's fucking boring and has no character. And didn't draw anything. Because these guys, I swear, they're like vampires trying to, like, sink the company. Like, these people will be like, the few casual fans that are left are like cheering for people like LA Knight and Roman Reigns. These people are cheering for like Seth Rollins and Gunther. Like, we got Gunther from these people. We got fucking who else? Oh my gosh. We got all the NXT Black and Gold shit. We got Kevin Owens. Oh my goodness. Sami Zayn. CM Punk, all these fucking people that are like not real wrestlers are enabled by these fuckers. And CM Punk is the one that unleashed the floodgates. CM Punk was like, "Yeah, we hear you, neckbeards, and we're going to listen to you." And guess what happened? John Cena started losing to people like fucking Kevin Owens. It's crazy because like John Cena could have beaten, like he could have lost to Rusev. Rusev actually had talent and potential. But he didn't lose to Rusev. He lost to a fucking loser like Kevin Owens. He lost to fucking AJ Styles. Losing to fucking CM Punk. Not losing to Rusev. Heaven forbid you lose to Rusev or someone with actual potential to be a star. Heaven forbid. It's ridiculous. And it's literally like John Cena just became a puppet for the neckbeards in 2015 with that US title run. Instead of being the John Cena who never gave up and actually won all the time. He became a guy who just put, like, neckbeard favorites over instead of, like, Rusev. And honestly, that's, like, a big tarnishment of John Cena's legacy is that shit for me. Fucking that US title challenge. It's like, all you neckbeard indie guys, come on and get elevated by me after I buried Rusev. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Like, these guys like Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega was in a gay relationship. Kenny Omega doesn't have a wife, and he's like 40. These guys like Velveteen Dream, and who else these people fucking like? These people will like hate Jack Swagger and Ryback. I'm not even saying those guys are that great, but like they're better than fucking Sami Zayn. Like, They'll like have a problem with random wrestlers that have like the tiniest bit of potential. Like Ryback had a potential, but the neckbeards hated him, and they allowed CM Punk to bury him. It's unbelievable. Normal people, not even normal people, like good people, old wrestling fans. You know what? They're good people. Compared to these people, they're good fucking people. Maybe the people in the Attitude Era were dicks, booing Rocky Maivia and shit. But they weren't this gay. They weren't like, at least they like knew what a real wrestler was. They'd cheer Psycho Sid. They would cheer like normal real wrestlers. They'd cheer Undertaker and Psycho Sid and Kane. They wouldn't fucking cheer Sami Zayn back then. They wouldn't fucking cheer. They were booing Shawn Michaels because he was fucking zesty. They were booing Bret Hart because he wore pink and he was like an indie work rate guy. They were cheering Psycho Sid.